my calculations are correct, when this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're gonna see some serious shit.
They're here.
Do you really think you have a chance against us, Mr. Cowboy?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
It's showtime.
Right, welcome everybody to another episode of the VHS Strikes Back. I'm one of your hosts, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to the VHS Strikes Back, the show where we dust off the old video player and go on a nostalgic journey to look at the good and the bad movies of yesteryear. Now, Chris, what are we going to review this week?
Well, Dave, this is your pick, and you've gone for a movie I've never seen until a few days ago. It's from 1986. It stars Jeff Goldblum, Geena Davis, and John Getz, and it's called The Fly. So, as I've never seen it, Dave, give us some background on where you first saw this.
Well, there are two things that made me think about this movie. So, one is Tony's story about basically having ADHD and he didn't sleep as a child, so his parents just shoved him in his room with a black and white TV. And also, Scott and Julian covered the 1958 Fly, because this is a kind of remake, but not loosely based on that 1958 film. And I too had a little black and white TV, you know, when I was probably, I don't know, 9, 10 or something like that. And, you know, late at night, it wasn't like the Channel 5 stuff that you got years later. It was, you know, old 50s sci-fi sort of movies that you ended up watching and stuff like that. So the original 1958 Fly was something that, you know, I held quite dearly. And there's the iconic scene that if people have watched it, you know, it's a bit more black and white, no pun intended, but basically he goes in and there's a fly that transports with him, and then the fly's head is just on this bloke and he's got a fly's arm as well. And then the last haunting bit, you've got the guy's head and he's caught in a spider. He's on a fly, but he's caught in a spider's web. And you just got this little voice that's like, help me, help me. It's really iconic. I'll try and dig it out on YouTube. But so when this was announced, you know, and I found out about this remake, I was really excited about it because I'd already, you know, watched this original one and quite liked it. But when I watched the remake, you know, again on videos, probably 87 or 88 something, I was like, holy fucking shitballs, what's this? You know, the black and white one's fairly inoffensive. You know, it's a little bit, you know, Twilight Zone-ish, you know, the effects aren't too bad. Whereas this is full-on body horror. And I just remember it was one of those that, even though I wouldn't say it scared you, but it kind of haunted you. And just remember talking to mates about it and stuff, you know, it was a bit of a favourite of ours, and we discuss all these different scenes, and, you know, it'd be like, oh yeah, when he opened the door, you know, the cabinet, like, he's got his knob there. And I'm like, fuck off. No, it doesn't. You know, and it was never proven, because the quality, you know, that you had back then is not like it is now, where it's like, oh yeah, that's his knob. So, yeah, I used to love this one, Chris. Watch this over and over again, you know, had it recorded, and yeah, absolutely loved it, Chris.
Well.
Got a good feeling about this.
No, so I remember the VHS cover more than anything, Dave, and I remember thinking, I'm not watching this at all. I don't know why, but it always reminded me, it's saying different films, but it's similar sort of VHS cover and style of Alien, or Aliens, whichever one it is.
It's the green, isn't it?
Yeah, the green and everything. And I remember it was Jeff Goldblum, but I have no idea. The main positive from this for me, Dave, was the fact that it run at 96 minutes. That was a godsend when I put it on. So, and it is available on Disney Plus, everyone. So we haven't given it the VHS curse, because I was listening back, Dave, to Getting Square, whatever it's called, the other week. And it was like, I was talking about the famous curse when it gets taken off Prime, done it, you know. So
well, I messaged you, didn't I? Because I went straight to Amazon Prime, because I'd forgot it was on Disney Plus, and then went to Amazon Prime. I'm like, fucking hell. It's obviously come off already, but no, it never was. It was on Disney Plus. So yeah, I thought we'd done it again.
Interesting that it's on Disney though, Dave, because I've got plenty to say about this movie.
Well, Chris, should we get into our trailer?
Let's go.
I think you're making a mistake. I think you really want to talk to me.
Sorry, I have 3 other interviews to do before this party's over.
Yeah, but they're not working on something that'll change the world as we know it.
They say they are.
Yeah, but they're lying.
There is a limit, even to the imagination.
Human teleportation, molecular decimation, breakdown, and reformation is inherently purging.
Where our greatest creations meet our deepest fears.
Something went wrong, Seth. When you went through, something went wrong.
You are about to go beyond that limit.
Those weird hairs that were growing out of your back, I had them analyzed. But they were definitely not human.
If you saw how scared and angry and desperate he is.
I'm sure Typhoid Mary was a very nice person, too, when you saw her socially.
No!
You're afraid to be destroyed and recreated, aren't you?
You're changing, Seth. Everything about you is changing.
Oh, no. What's happening to me? Am I dying?
I want to know what's going on.
What does the disease want?
It wants to turn me into something else.
Oh, no.
A fly got into the transmitter pod with me that first time when I was alone.
Don't go back to it. It could be contagious.
I'm afraid!
Don't be afraid.
No. Be afraid. Be very afraid.
Help me. Please, help me.
Brilliant but eccentric scientist Seth Brundle meets science journalist Veronica Ronnie Quaife at a Meet the Press event held at Bartok Science Industries, the company funding his work. He takes her back to the laboratory of his warehouse home and asks her to exclusively document his invention, 2 pods that can teleport objects between them. While the telepods can transport inanimate objects perfectly, they are unable to teleport live tissue, as demonstrated when a baboon is turned inside out after being teleported. Now, Chris, what do you reckon to the opening of this movie?
Well, I praised before the trailer the 96-minute running time, but I think there is massive holes in this movie. I think that there's all sorts. It goes along far too quickly. It goes along quickly for me because I fucking hated it, but it goes along with loads of different things. I mean, Geena Davis is so trusting of this guy, ready to just drop a knicker straight away, Dave. Unbelievable. Jeff Goldblum.
Hey, don't be slut-shaming now.
No, I'm not. Well, I've got to say, Jeff Goldblum's in good shape in this movie, definitely. But I just found it shit. I just don't like these sort of movies. I don't know what to expect. I remember seeing the transformation slightly of his character on a trailer years ago or something like that, and I thought, yep, that's not for me. But I just think I didn't like it at all. This is not for me, and I will never watch this fucking thing ever again, if I'm being honest.
Chris, this is a body horror classic. Now, I'm a bit of a shithouse like you as well. I don't particularly like horror, but there's something about this that is just incredibly tragic. I mean, yeah, there are holes. So the fact that, he's secretive, he's this scientist, but he wants to take a journalist back and shows him everything. And he's like, no, you can't write about that. What are you doing? It's like, yeah. Well, I am a journalist. You did bring me back to your lab. But that was all fine. I think this is one of Jeff Goldblum's best performances ever. Better than Independence Day. Better than Jurassic Park. I think Jeff Goldblum as Seth Brundle is brilliant. The way he kind of plays that eccentric kind of scientist. I'm sure that he got the Jurassic Park gig based on this. I know he's a mathematician in Jurassic Park, but essentially still that kind of slightly rock star scientist kind of thing. And, he is quirky and you know, you got Geena Davis playing Veronica there. I think they've got great chemistry on screen. And, you know, they hit it off super quick, as they do in these movies. They always do across all of them. It's just you kind of forget, you know, it's only when you go back and watch them and go like, oh, Christ, that all happened quite quickly. And then you've got this weird triangle as well, haven't you? You've got Stathis, you know, who seems to be her boss / ex-boyfriend. And again, it's one of those 80s things where it's like, oh, yeah, I was at college and he was a professor or something. And it's like, yeah, it's just perfectly fine. You know, and he just decided to take a shower in a fucking apartment and stuff. You know, there are some weird things. But I like the way their relationship develops. And Chris, when it all starts going wrong, it's so fucking sad and tragic the way it unfolds.
I've got to say, actually, Stathis, whatever he's called, Stathis, him as well. When Veronica comes back to the flat and he's having a shower, and he's like, yeah, I've got a key, and he's dead fucking creepy and pushy, and he's really jealous of this Seth guy, even though he's obviously treated her like shit, and she doesn't really react. She's like, oh, you know, flushes the toilet sort of thing. It's like, come on, leave it now. And obviously, Seth has gone through the teleporting thing, and he's like a fucking genetic jackhammer, Dave. Fuck me, is he going for some time? He's
quite ripped, isn't he, there?
Yeah, he's quite ripped, but I mean, I don't mean genetic jackhammer for that, Dave. I mean, he's hammering something for quite a long time by the looks of it in the film, but it's quite graphic. But, you know, the sex scenes and that, there's quite a few bits in it, but the one bit that got me, and I'm fucking crying. Now, like I say, Jeff Goldblum, he's obviously about the same height as me, probably 6'2", 6'3", very slim, though, looks the part. He looks like a proper athlete, doesn't he? You know, like, he looks really good. You can see he's got in shape for this movie, unless he already was in shape, but he looks good. He's
just young, isn't he? He's just, you know, young and wiry kind of thing. He does look very good.
He does look good, but it's when he starts going around the fucking apartment, and for some reason in his apartment he's got a full fucking gym set up, Dave, like he's training for the Olympics, and he's doing the fucking bars, and that's clearly not him. And he's doing all these moves because the guy's body is just a little bit more ripped than his, but it looks, you know, because they're trying to get that bouffant haircut he's got and that, and he's doing all these moves. He's dead aggressive, and he has his character changes, and his appearance is changing. He's really aggressive. But I've got to say, Dave, I must admit, when he pulls the woman in the bar, I reckon young Chris may have enjoyed some of them.
I did remember that quite well.
Yeah. She's covered in freckles, wasn't she? But she was rather cute, Dave. It was a bit
She
cute,
was.
cute
And
for the bar.
I just remember when he demonstrates going from one pod to the other, and she's just casually there. You know, she's got no kind of top on, and she's got a coat on and stuff, and just in a knickers kind of thing. I might have remembered that quite well, Chris, when I was younger, and he just kind of basically just mounts her, you know, because he's gone all Kal-El from Superman 2, hasn't he? He's basically evil Superman after a bit, because he's gone through, he's merged with the Fly, and at first it looks like it's had this massive positive effect, and he thinks that, you know, it's purified him. That was his, you know, hypothesis. That's what he thought. But then he starts, you know, becoming Dark Superman and fucking going all evil and shit, you know. And you say he pulls that girl, but I mean, he pulls her by snapping her boyfriend's arm in half. You know? So there's nothing fucking sexier than that, is there?
No.
So
Lincoln Hawk would have had a chance. I'm going to just correct you, Dave. You cannot actually blaspheme Superman 2 because it's Superman 3 when he goes bad. Do not ever say that about a favourite movie.
Sorry, you know what? I'm thinking of the loss of the powers. I'm thinking of the, you know, when he loses his powers for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's Superman 3 when he goes bad, isn't it? Oh, we've all tried flicking the peanuts. It's not a euphemism, but
we all tried singing on our 50th episode of Comics in Motion, Superman 3, let's be honest.
Classic. But, I mean, at this point, he's turned into a massive fucking dick, hasn't he? And the fact that Veronica even wants to speak to him after he's treated her like shit is a bit of a stretch, isn't it? You know, he's an utter dick to her. he's thrown her out because he's basically tried to force her to go into the teleport pod. She won't do it, but then he's like, well, fuck off kind of thing, and then he's gone to pull this other girl, and she's kind of run off. But then things start to ramp up a bit, don't they? I think the makeup, I actually do think it won an award for makeup, I think. Just bear with me. Yeah, won the Academy Award for Best Makeup. And it was so good because when we first meet Seth, and he's that kind of, quirky scientist, and he's just chatting to Veronica, you can see Jeff Goldblum's got his, nice clean skin and stuff. But even before he goes full on bad, you can see his skin, it's all kind of deteriorating, and it's only really after he's shooed off Veronica, and also the girl that he's pulled, he starts to like look in the mirror and starts to pull off his fingernails and stuff, and he starts to notice these things. But I think it's a really cool visual transformation that he's going through there.
Yeah, I think I give credit on that, actually, because I remember when I was like, oh, what's happened to his face? And it seemed to be, you're right, it's a good spot, that Superman 3, because he literally, once he sort of cops off with that girl after he's snapped that guy's arm, then that's when his appearance starts changing, doesn't it? Like he's taken hold of him. He's not thinking, is he? And everything he does is so irrational. And obviously, Veronica walks in, doesn't she, as he's with this girl and everything, and he's very blasé about it. But yeah, it spirals from. I think it's quite interesting because I think it gets going properly about 45 minutes in. But look, Dave, I hated these sort of movies. I really do fucking hate them. Like I don't know what I expected. I was expecting him to become an absolute bastard and just start wantonly killing people, and that doesn't really happen, does it, in the movie? There's only that, you know what I mean? Only at the end, really.
I think you've missed the point. It's a tragedy, really. I mean, the first half hour or so is all about this love story. He just happens to be this scientist, but they're young, they're in love. We see a bit of slap and tickle. They're enjoying each other very much so. And, I'm sure there were other scenes as well. I think Disney Plus might have cut a few things out of there. I seem to remember some other scenes. But, they're in love. They're young. They've got, all this stuff going on. And, early in their careers, they're in their 20s and whatever. Life's fucking great. And then, just this chance mishap, this fucking fly just going into the teleportation thing, and he's transforming. There was a lot of speculation because this was 86, 87. There was a lot of speculation it was about AIDS. It's like a parallel to that, but David Cronenberg directed it, said that it wasn't, but you could see that if you were affected, it was more like just about changes and disease and old age and things. That's what was kind of in his mind with this, and the whole rewrite and what have you. But no, I think when Veronica leaves him and then comes back, that's when you get a ramp up, don't you? There's several different stages where we see Seth, and he's just got worse and worse, and we almost see it from Veronica's perspective. We don't see him changing scene to scene as such. Time's moved on, and the next time she sees him, he's massively deteriorated. He sort of pops his head around the corner, but he looks really bad. It's really escalated quite a lot. You can tell all the makeup is on there and stuff. And, he's been isolated for such a long time. I've no idea how he gets his shopping in or whatever. But then, again, an iconic bit for me, Chris, is when he starts to eat. And again, he's been isolated. He's been on his own. He's forgotten pretty much like normal human things, etiquette and everything, and he just gets that donut or whatever and just pukes up on it. And it's only because of her reaction He's like, oh, that's disgusting. He remembers. He's like, oh shit, I've been doing that for ages, but I completely forgot. It's a bit weird for anyone else. And then you learn that flies can eat this stuff, but they can't digest it properly, so they have to puke up on their food before they eat it. I think all of that was just really well put together, and again, you see this evolution. But then it gets worse, doesn't it, when she finds out she's pregnant?
Oh, and that bit where she thinks she's having the baby.
Yeah.
She gives fucking birth to, what is it, an ant?
Fucking massive maggot, innit?
Maggot or whatever it is. And I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is going on here? It reminds me of Hellraiser, the effects and everything. Just that, reversing bit where basically he just wants to get his fucking end away. And then his body just goes back to normal, doesn't it? He changes completely. But the effects on the prosthetics, the way it works and everything, the way that the changing of it, and that bit, I was like, holy shit, this has got to be a dream. Please be it. And it was a dream. But for a second, I was like, what? This is a quick fucking birth. She was only pregnant the other day, and that Stathis guy was fucking fuming, wasn't he? But yeah. He wanted to get rid of it. Then he's like, with her saying, you've got to get rid of it. We've got to get rid of it. It was very bizarre, all that. But he was just a creep anyway, Dave. You obviously knew that there was somebody in this movie who was going to take one for the team, and he was the one. They always have to have someone who plays against the lead character, don't you? And he was a wanker.
Yeah, and I think the main thing in the writer's mind, I think, is all about Seth and Veronica. That's it. That's the whole story, really. And Stathis is not Stannis Baratheon from Game of Thrones.
I was just thinking that.
He is whatever he needs to be that third wheel. Because when we first meet him, he's an utter douchebag ex-boyfriend / boss. Again, he's sort of playing two roles there. But even when, it's like he's just pressuring Veronica, and he's like, well, we don't have to go out. Can we just fuck then? How about that? He's just a bit of a slimy fucker. And, like you say, the backstory was apparently he was a college professor or lecturer or something. So you think, oh, what a fucking douchebag. But when he finds out Veronica is pregnant, suddenly he becomes supportive friend.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere. It's like, all right, maybe I can kind of go with that. But then obviously when Seth does find out that she's pregnant, because she goes to see him, doesn't she? And, he's got almost as bad as it's going to get. He looks like fucking, I don't know what, but nothing like original Jeff Goldblum that we met in that first scene. And he says, you shouldn't come back. But of course he overhears about the baby, and she's just seen Seth looking like shit. And she's like, get it out of me kind of thing. Like I say, Stath is massively supportive and whatever, but then Seth goes and kidnaps her. Then Stathis becomes fucking John Matrix or something.
Yeah,
well, shit, John Matrix, yeah. But
it's a great analogy, that day.
Like goes, gets his guns and stuff, right? We're going to fucking go on for this. And then, again, I just think the effects were brilliant where, they set it up so well. We'd seen Seth puke up over his donuts. And that he'd explain that he needs to do that so he can digest the food and stuff. So then just pukes up on his hand. And I remember it so vividly, just seeing his flesh dissolve away there. And the bones dissolve away and stuff. I thought it looked fantastic. Even now, I thought it looked really good. Have you got anything else? Or are you just going to go, no, this is shit? I watched it on my phone while I was fucking in the gym.
No, I didn't. I watched it on my telly. I genuinely watched it. Because Disney, you can't fast forward it, which you wish they could. No. So I thought that was really interesting at the end, because when his face is just melting and it's like slabs of steak on the floor, I was kind of impressed with that. I'll give you that, Dave, because I kept thinking, when's he going to turn into a fly? Because obviously he'd used these like acid breath on Staffbase, didn't he, and melted his arm and everything, and then
his leg,
and he'd fucked him up completely, and then Staffbase looked like he was dead, but then Veronica sort of goes no, and obviously the fly can still hear her. And he's massive, isn't he? And he's still saving it. Because I did feel for Veronica, because there was a bit where she hugged him before he became the animal. And he was all slimy and minging. And I was like, oh, no, forget that. I know you love him, but just fucking let him melt in the corner. So I get it. Right? I do get it. And I understand why you like it, because it's just a very strange film. But for me, seeing it all these years later, was it 36 years later, Dave? It's just completely passed me by. And I don't like this genre. So I did genuinely watch it on my telly. I didn't fucking mobile phone it in the gym. I know you think I did, but I didn't. I think Geena Davis is okay in it. I do think Jeff Goldblum is the star for obvious reasons. And I think you're probably right. He probably did get Jurassic Park off the back of this, 4 or 5 years later, because he has got that eccentric tone, which, to be fair, has followed him through on most of his biggest movies since, hasn't it? Like, say, Independence Day, things like that. He's never changed what he does. Some would say, if I'm being a shit on Harrison Ford, he's a one-dimensional actor, Dave.
I knew you were going to say that. You can't say Jeff Goldblum. He's royalty.
Dave, listen, I'm doing an impression of him now. He just goes, well, what do you think about this? And then, like, you get the Jurassic Park shit.
Was he John Wayne?
I don't know what he did. I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Oh, he's Bill Clinton now.
Bill Clinton now. No, but it's the same thing. That's sort of like, well, you know. And it's just like, instead he speaks, he's like very drones and everything. I'm not slacking him off because it's not Harrison Ford. He's not as shit as him, but he has done the same stuff every movie.
You know, my favourite, though, is my favourite meme is from Jurassic Park with Jeff Goldblum, where he's got his shirt off and he's breathing heavily. And you've got, what's his name? Sam Neill, like, listening on his belly. Have you seen that one?
No, I've not seen that one.
Have you not?
No.
I'm going to have to dig that one out. They've obviously spliced, because there's a bit where Sam Neill is listening to, is it Stegosaurus or something, or Triceratops? He's listening to the stomach, isn't he? And he's kind of going back and forth.
Oh, shit, yeah. I do know you, because I thought you meant the bit when he's actually lay on the bed, and he's on that, like, gurney thing, isn't he, Ian, when he gets injured and he's got his top open, because he's still in good shape in Jurassic Park, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. Let me share my screen a sec. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah, that's the bit I meant. I've never seen that with him on his...
Have you not? No. It's fucking brilliant, isn't it?
It's like a fucking porno, doesn't it? I've never seen that ever. Oh, my God.
Oh, dear. I can't believe you've not seen that. You've usually seen them all.
I send them all, don't you? Usually,
maybe it's a bit fucking tame for you.
My reputation precedes me, if you don't mind.
But, again, I think you need to look at this through the kind of lens of it's a love story tragedy, because... Again, Seth is kind of taken over by the fly. He does that whole speech about, have you ever heard of insect politics? Well, no, because there aren't insect politicians, because they're absolutely brutal. So you've still got a little bit of Seth there, but he is turning into the fly, He knows he's going to become more and more brutal. That's kind of why he was on that path to being a real dick. And when it's clear that she's going to get rid of the baby... I don't exactly know why he wants to do it, but he wants to merge everyone. He wants to get the baby, her, himself, the fly, all to just merge together in this big fucking goop, presumably. Because initially he was thinking about, maybe he could purify himself if he had a host to get rid of the fly bits, but... then he started to talk about, Brundle fly and baby Brundle fly and whatever. It all got a bit weird. But when it goes a bit wrong, and then, the fly's gone into the one pod, and then because Stathis, he does save the day a little bit, doesn't he? At least it's an assist, let's call it that, so it was Veronica really who saved the day, but, he got an assist in there, Stathis. And so you get the transporting, and then, he's kind of coming out of the pod, and he's kind of merged with a bit of the other pod. Again, logic falls down a bit. But then he's almost, he looks like a bloody fly. He's got the puppeteers and everything working. But I think at that point he's realised, he's fucked. And he's just like, he takes the gun and he just lifts it up to his head. He's just like, kill me. And she can't do it. And I think, again, Geena Davis's performance there, how does your heart not break looking at that scene? And she eventually, she comes to terms with it, and then blows his fucking brains out. She's not sure at first, and then she's like, boom. Again, I just thought it was a real emotional pull, drag, something, pulls on the heartstrings. Some words, rearrange those into something that makes sense.
I must admit, I think when she pulled his jaw off, I was like, fuck me. Yeah. That's fucking minging, wasn't it? But, there is a sequel in the day. I take it.
There is. I've never seen it. I don't know if I ever will, unless I'm forced to. But for me, you can't really improve on this. I think for what it is, and I know it's not obviously in your genre of films, but if you were to take the essence of the story, I don't know how you improve on it, because you've got all the practical effects. I don't think CGI helps this.
No.
So, do you recreate the same experiment? I'm not sure, but yeah, I think it's just probably because, the first one was so successful. I think it's probably Cronenberg's most successful. Budget was about 9 to 15 million apparently, and it made 60 million at the box office, which for a movie like this, a body horror movie like this, that is not bad at all.
Yeah, that's not bad at all. And I was reading before, Mel Brooks, it's his company, isn't it? But he didn't want his name on the credits because people thought it's a comedy. So that's interesting.
Yeah. And it's a fair point. You've got to say, is that humility, or is it just the reality? The reality is people will go in thinking it's fucking Spaceballs or something.
Yeah.
And they're like, bring the kids along and stuff. Come on, it's a new comedy. Call The Fly. It'll be hilarious. What the fuck?
It's running out screaming.
But no, I like I say, I know obviously this is part of our Halloween run of movies, isn't it? So I don't think this one is too scary. There's no jump scares at all. It's just, for me at least, it takes me back to that time where, I did find it quite haunting. But part of the thing of making it haunting is that you care about the relationship, or I do. I don't think you do, but because I think if you cared about the relationship, I think it would resonate a lot more.
It's interesting that you see it as like a love story, because for me, I was just like, oh God, what is this? And I suppose you're right. I suppose it is that, but it's an interesting movie to just come up with an idea of. I know these, like say, it's loosely based on the 50s film and stuff, but
and I think that the 58 film was based on a short story from before.
Yeah.
So a little bit of a Twilight Zone type short story, I guess.
Yeah, it's interesting. Look, I didn't enjoy it. However, I can respect why you like it, Dave. Completely.
That is probably as good as I'm going to get. So, Chris, why don't we get into our final review?
Let's go. Thank you for showing us this, Dave. It's another one off my I'm not watching this, I'm scared shitless VHS covers from the 80s and early 90s. I didn't know what to expect. I honestly didn't. I understood Jeff Goldblum was the Fly, but I did think it was sort of like he gets transformed within the first 20 minutes and then he just goes on a fucking rampage or something. I didn't know what to expect at all. And it wasn't that type of movie at all. It was more psychological than anything. And like you said, there's a love story there. I get it, and I understand why you think it. For me, it's just not a movie I like. I really fucking hate these sort of movies. And it's good because I can tick it off the list. And I go, yeah, I've watched The Fly. Because it's one of the movies when people have said, like, it's a horror. No. Have you seen The Fly? No. Why? Well, you've got to watch, like that sort of movie. So I've done it now, and I've watched it. So for me, it's not the worst thing I've ever seen because we know what the fucking worst film ever is, and we're not going to mention it. So it's going to go to Elm Street, I think, Dave. It's there. I could watch it again if you put my arm up the back, but that's about it. But yeah, that's the best you're going to get. What about yourself?
I'll take that. I thought it was going a bit lower than that, so not too bad. For me, I haven't seen this for years and years, but putting it on again just took me right back to those late 80s times when, like I say, I used to watch this over and over, discuss it with my mates and everything. And yeah, I don't know why I liked it, and again, I guess, I was kind of going from my single digits into double digits. And so, it was a horror movie, but one that didn't have me curled up in the corner fucking shitting myself, so it was like, it felt like a coming of age horror movie, one that I could handle. And wouldn't, give me horrendous nightmares like fucking Nightmare on Elm Street kind of thing. So, yeah, I've loved going back and watching this. And, again, I didn't think going into this that I would come away thinking, right, it's a tragic love story kind of thing. But that is the sense that I've come away with. Obviously, when I was a kid, it was more about, the gruesomeness, the changing into the Fly, and some of that stuff is great. Like I say, I think the effects are fantastic. The fact that it won an Academy Award for it. It was nominated for a BAFTA as well for Best Makeup and Hair. I reckon that was just for Jeff Goldblum's hair, never mind, the Fly or anything. Saturn Awards, so it got Best Actor for Jeff Goldblum, Best Makeup, and also Best Horror Film as well. So this, for me, is a real classic. Now, I'm not going to say it's the best kind of horror movie that I've ever watched, best movie I've ever watched, but really up there. And I'd suggest that if people are out there listening and you haven't watched it, definitely give it a watch. I think the effects stand up really, really well. I don't think you can improve on this. They're remaking loads of different things, aren't they? This shouldn't be one. This shouldn't be touched, this one. So it's a Pleasantville for me, and a really strong one at that. Excellent film.
Interesting, Dave. And I want to know what other people think as well, because I know we've got some proper horror fans out there who's going to rip me a new one, which is fine. I accept that.
I think there'll be two camps, as always. There'll be people who won't enjoy it as well. But for me, this is a classic. Dave,
92% of Rotten Tomatoes, to be fair, and the user ratings were like 8.4. So that's even better.
Oh, wow.
So it's highly regarded. So you might be right. If you're into that sort of genre, I presume it's one of your classics. Obviously, it's up there with my classics like No Shit, No Surrender 3.
What was it? Manhattan Chase.
Manhattan Chase, King of the Kickboxers. You know what I mean? Legendary movies. But anyway, Dave, I'm going to let you introduce this one because this is all to do with a crossover episode with your amazing podcast with Mr. Max Burton and Tony Farina.
It is. So Max and Tony and I, we'll pick an album. So it is Mandatory Music and CD, a little bit of a play on a show that Max had with Mandatory Marvel and DC. So basically, we've been going through, we've done about 4 or 5 episodes so far, and we picked albums from bands. But when we started talking about doing a soundtrack, we could potentially do a crossover, Max and Tony were straight there, Lost Boys, straight away. So, I mean, I hadn't watched it for ages, but, they were obviously very, very passionate about it. So, Chris, let's listen to the trailer.
Michael and Sam have just moved to Santa Carla, California. They're about to discover its secret.
notice anything unusual about Santa Carla yet?
No. It's a pretty cool place. If you're a Martian.
Or a vampire?
When you're a stranger, when you scream.
So where are you? The flying nun?
I'm your brother, Sammy. Help me!
Stay back! Stay back!
What's happening to me, Star? Get yourself a good sharp steak. Drive it right to his heart.
You're a vampire, Michael. My own brother,
Oh,
a damn
class.
blood-sucking vampire. Oh, you wait till Mom finds out, buddy.
When a vampire buys it, it's never a pretty sight.
Michael, they're coming! Oh, shit!
So I think this is the days when you give away the whole story in the in the trailer.
You know what, Dave? I didn't watch this movie for years, and I was like, I'm like my horror movies. I'm proper like, no, I'm not watching it. And I remember watching this around about 98, 90, maybe with Sam. We probably made me watch his. And I tell you what, I absolutely love The Lost Boys. And I've only seen it twice before. After this, I've seen it the first time, obviously 10, 12 years later, whatever it was, when it was released. And then I think I watched it about 10 years ago. But I'm looking forward to this because it's one of them movies that I really shouldn't like because of my, growing fear of horror movies. But when I watched it, I loved it. And I think Kiefer Sutherland's fucking excellent as the baddie in it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this.
Yeah, I mean, I watched it on video, so it must have been about 88 or something like that. So I really enjoyed it at the time. Again, I was not a fan of horror at all, but this is not quite horror, is it? And it'd be interesting to look a little bit around the other movies that were around that time.
Yeah.
Because, I'm not saying you could draw a straight line to things like Twilight. Yeah. But I think it's definitely different to the vampire movies like when we were growing up. Before that, you had the old Hammer horrors and stuff like that, didn't you? So very, very different to that. So I haven't watched this for years, so I don't really know what to expect, but I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, Jason Patric, legend, Dave, not only did he star in The Losers, he also starred in Speed 2. What a film, Dave. So, nice. On a yacht. Amazing movie. He was more wooden than Keanu Reeves. So, interesting. But he is good in this. I know he's good in this one, to be fair.
No, that's very good, mate.
So, Dave, thank you, everyone, as always, for tuning in. Thank you for all your support over on Patreon, patreon.com/thevhsstrikesback. If you want to email us, thevhsstrikesback@gmail.com. And if you want to follow us on social media @VHSStrikesback. So today's roll call of honour is Trent, Dan, Justin, Susan, Timothy, Alec, Paul, Matt, Heath, Dylan, Ken, Lucky Luna Green, Herb, Jax, Maths, Blake, John Hammond, and Mr. Tony Farina. So thank you so much, guys, for all your support. We really, really appreciate it. You've got so good here. Everyone past and present who supported us on Patreon. It's really, really good stuff. And also, Dave, we've not been requested for any sort of surf lessons or karate lessons this week. I have checked the email.
Nice. Now, Chris, one of the iconic lines that I think came out was when we talked about Seth and he was having a little bit sexy time, which, made an impression on the young Dave, I can tell you. But Seth says, when she's running away and she says she's going to be afraid, he says, "Don't be afraid." And Veronica comes in and says, "No, be afraid. Be very afraid." Such a great line. Such a great line, Chris.
Brilliant.
And with that, thank you very much. I appreciate you entertaining me and watching and sitting through this one this week. Thanks to everyone out there for listening. As always, supporting us. It's absolutely fantastic. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over. What the fuck are we gonna do now? What are we gonna do?
Maybe we could build a fire, sing a couple of songs, huh? Why don't we try that?
We better get back, because it'll be dark soon, and they mostly come at night. Mostly.
I'll be back.
That's odd. We came, we saw, we kicked its ass.
Wax on,
Wax off.
Get to the chopper!
One ring to go.
All right. Ding, ding.
Bust you up. Go for it.
Well, here we go. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Ain't so bad. Come on. Ain't so bad. You ain't nothing. Come on. You must be crazy or something. I'm crazy. You just a stupid fool. Yeah, maybe you crazy. I ain't breathing heavy. He's a fool. He's stupid. I seen you at 6 months.